This is the first video in a three-part series doing a deep dive into real estate prices and statistics for the city of Surrey in 2025. The city itself is broken into four major areas as defined by the Fraser Valley Real Estate Board. And those areas are North Surrey, Surrey, South Surrey White Rock, and Cloverdale. And this three-video series focuses on the three most prominent asset classes within the city, which are detached or single-family homes, townhomes, which are usually stratified and adjoined properties with exterior entry, and condos, which are legally the same thing as townhomes, but they are apartments, most often with interior shared hallways. In this video, we'll focus on condos. But really quick, before I start the stats deep dive, this is a real estate channel focused on Greater Vancouver and across the Fraser Valley. So subscribe to the channel if you would like to stay up to date on the market. And please click the like button to help me grow this channel as we approach 20,000 subscribers. And of course, if you need help in the market in 2025, which is a very slow and hard market to deal with, well, you can book a call with me right now using the link in the description below at a time that works best for you. And now let's hop into the condo market with the most recent statistics provided by the fine people at the Fraser Valley Real Estate Board. Okay, so just to be perfectly clear of what you're looking at here, the blue line is North Surrey. The red line is Surrey. That's kind of the middle part of Surrey, if you want to call it that. South Surrey White Rock, for this purposes, does include the city of White Rock. However, it's not part of the city of Surrey. But most people looking in South Surrey would consider White Rock as well. That's why they are grouped together, not only geographically, but probably for the common interest of the buyer. And Cloverdale, which is the eastern part of the city. And what we're looking at here is the HPI, or the Home Price Index. Now, you can see the general trend across the entire marketplace is downward pressure. Year over year, North Surrey has now dropped 7%, Surrey 4.5%, South Surrey White Rock 7.5%. So he's actually seen the steepest decline percentage-wise in South Surrey, and 2.7% in Cloverdale, which means prices are holding up there the best. Now, personally, I like HPI because it tells you what the market is doing, and the median price, well, it would have you believe that there's a good chance prices are going up, like for instance in South Surrey White Rock over the last few months, but that's really not what we're seeing. Over the last year, the median price in South Surrey White Rock is actually doing the best, and North Surrey is doing the worst. Now, what is the difference between these two metrics? Median is simply the middle sale of all the sales that happened over that month. And the HPI takes into account the average property in that area and what it sells for. HPI is a much more reliable stat. As you can tell, median can jump around. If, for example, back here in, let's call it, what is this, March 2024, it was really, really high, and it jumped up to the tune of $100,000 in South Surrey in 1 month. We know that's not the case, so there likely would have been a luxury sale at that time. Looking at average price, now, average price is just all of the transactions divided by the number of transactions, and you're seeing average pricing increasing in South Surrey White Rock. So what's the reality of the South Surrey White Rock market in condos? Is it actually up 3 or 4% year over year, or is it down 7.5? I personally believe that the HPI is much more representative of what's going on in the overall marketplace is down and not up. Now, you will notice that Surrey is actually dropped 16.4% year over year in average pricing in condos. North Surrey envelops Wally, and Wally is the heavy investor area that just has not done so well. That's where all the micro units are, and that's why it's having a tougher go than everywhere else. Actually, in all circumstances so far we've looked at, Cloverdale seems to be holding up okay. But again, I'm going to defer back to that benchmark pricing. But why are prices slumping? Well, that has to do with the overall decline in the number of sales. Now, again, this number right up here in North Surrey is a year over year. So we are June 2025. These stats came out. Now we're looking for June 2024. So it's from this point to this point. It's actually down way more than that from just a month or two before then, but you're seeing like a decrease of like a quarter. So there's a quarter less homes selling in North Surrey or in condos in North Surrey than a year ago. That trend is trending downwards for sure, even though, of course, you're going to have those slow winter months each year as well, like January and February, where the market is really, really slow. New listings coming to the market. This is part of the story. You're going to see this general trend over the last couple of years. Again, you're going to see December is going to always be the low point when you don't have a lot on the market. But of course, now that North Surrey number, you have 291 active new listings coming to the market. So that's just over that last month. Those then tack on top of the listings from the previous months to form active listings. And this is really what the story is of the condo market, particularly in North Surrey. Condos in North Surrey are up 21%. In Surrey, it's a much lower number. It's not this 859. It's only 237, but in Surrey, they're up 34% year over year. Look at those White Rock numbers, up 52%. So there's just so much more coming to the market that it's inevitable as this market inventory increases that the prices will come down. That is just supply and demand. Now, you can also see that Cloverdale, there's a lot less of them. And in North Surrey, there's a ton of condos. Like the difference is, well, it's basically 10 times. It's 96 up to, well, it's 9 times, let's call it. But there's just a lot more condos available in those areas. This is actually one of the reasons that when I buy my condos, I prefer to stay out of those very, very dense areas, because when the market goes tough, you're just one of many, many, many on the market. Now, active listings is okay if there's a lot of active listings, as long as there's a lot of sales. But when you divide those two numbers into each other, so you take the amount of active listings, divide it by the number of sales, it gives you then something called months of inventory. The months of inventory in North Surrey is up 50%, and now we're looking at 10 months. But this is a buyer's market across all areas now in condo markets across North Surrey, Surrey, South Surrey, White Rock, and of course, Cloverdale. Now, Cloverdale is actually doing the best by this metric with only 7 months of supply, meaning we're just slipping into a buyer's market now. So you're going to start seeing prices coming down in Cloverdale when you've already seen dramatic price drops in North Surrey and definitely in Surrey. Now, another way to look at month supply is the inverse of that, which is just a percentage basis rather than a month count, which is consumption rate. And that is obviously continuing to drop. And well, look at these consumption rates. When Cloverdale a while back, now this isn't that many properties, but you had like a 73% consumption rate, meaning that's 3 out of every 4 listings are selling in those months. And now we are much, much lower than that. Only 16% of homes are selling in Cloverdale, 15 in South Surrey, White Rock, 10 in Surrey, and 9% in North Surrey. So think about that. That's 1 in 10 or less homes selling each and every month. So if you're not priced right and showing well, the buyer's just going to go buy one of those other 9 or 10 properties that are currently on the marketplace. Percentage of list price, I'm not going to look at median, I'm going to look at average. So this is percentage from asking price or original price, let's call it, until actual sale price. North Surrey expectedly took a nosedive because it has all of that inventory. In May, properties were still selling for about over 97%, or you were able to negotiate 2.5% to 3% off of the price. Well, everything that sold in North Surrey this last month, it's another 2% off. That's why you're seeing those prices come down so dramatically. The average market, though, is about 96 to 97.5%. So these numbers aren't super scary until you look to South Surrey and until you look into North Surrey, when there's dip below 96% of asking. Original asking is where they actually sell. That's where I think things get a little bit tough. And then it should never really be up here. I mean, I know in a good market, you'll end up over 100% of asking, meaning the average property is going above the asking price. I just really don't think that's a very healthy market. Now, that is from the original price. From the average list price, this number is going to be a little bit better looking because this is after price reductions, spurring on the fact that after a price reduction, you stand a much better chance of selling. Obviously, that should be a pretty easy thing to do, to think of, and we're going to tie that to days on market here very shortly. But realistically, once you see a price reduction, you're likely going to breathe fresh air into that listing. Of all the buyers that weren't interested at your previous price, they may come back and say, okay, well, now that that guy's asking or that gal's asking a little bit less, we're interested to go back and visit that property. So this is where the actual list price that you see compared to the original list price, the actual list price you see, you're actually going to negotiate usually between 2 and 3% off at a max. Price per square foot, we're not going to focus on because that can vary so greatly, but average days on market is creeping up across most of the board. So the average property in North Surrey is taking 43 days to sell last month, 38 in Surrey, 36 in South Surrey, and 35 in Cloverdale. So this is looking, if you just look at this is one thing I really want to try to, I guess, impress upon you if you are looking to sell one of these properties right now. If you don't have an offer at your price within, this is saying within 35 to 43 days, you're not going to sell. So as a result, and I think it really should be 28 days, you want to get your price down another 2 or 3% at least from your asking price. If you don't have serious offers in that amount of time, because then you're likely just going to expire, and the homes are selling, I mean, not fast, but within a month and a half. So if you've been on the market for more than a month and a half, you're probably not going to sell. And then as a buyer, once you see a property on the market for 60 days, you know that property is way overpriced. So you're going to need a price reduction, or you're going to need to negotiate quite a bit off of that listing price. And then the last thing I want to do is zoom out. So this is now the 10-year perspective on condos across the entire city, so you can see what's gone on. The benchmark home price from the peak, well, in North Surrey, it was $533. Now we're down to as low as $463. It's come down quite a bit. It is trending down. I don't think we're going to see any massive declines from here, but it is still trending down, and it is still trending down in each area. There is just no way to say this other than the fact is, over the next foreseeable future, until something changes, prices in condos across the entire city of Surrey are likely going to continue to head downward until the market picks up again, and there's no telling how long that may be. So that's condos. So stay tuned over the next few days for the other 2 videos in this nerdy stats series that will cover townhomes and detached. Or if you're looking to sell right now, don't wait for that next interest rate cut. Watch this video right now to discover the 6 data points that you need to know before bringing your listing to the market.